Hi.
Hey. So I was reading an article the other day, and the question came up, should prisoners be allowed to vote? So I thought I'd ask Shania. So, do you think prisoners should be allowed to vote?
That is a very deep question. Okay. I would probably say yes. What about the fact that they have a lot of time to read, for example? And, I think in order to vote, you have to have a very well-informed decision. So, for example, I don't vote in the years that I haven't read all the parties' manifestos, are they called?
Oh, so if you haven't read them, you just don't vote?
Yes, because I don't feel like it's right, like only because I read like one and I liked some parts of it, that doesn't mean that another one doesn't have, because I have to like the overall thing that they offer.
Okay, fair enough, they've had a lot of time to read, but that still doesn't change the fact that they're not functioning members of society. So when they committed the crime and they were sent away, did they not relinquish the right to be able to vote? The same as somebody who's on the street or at home, working, paying their taxes. The party who then becomes in power will then directly affect that person's life. So why should the person in prison have the same rights to vote as the person who's on the street?
Well, yeah, but they've been taken the right away to the right of freedom. You can't just like take all of their rights away. And also you have to consider that there's other things here in play. Like, for example, are their sentence going to finish whilst that government is still in power, and then they're going to come out of prison and maybe half of their sentence or whatever part of their life would be under that government, and they'll be free. And also, while they're in prison, don't they have many of them families outside of prison, and they'll be like, their vote would be also keeping in mind the families that are outside.
Yes, but back to what I said before, that's the family members, they have the right to vote because they're outside of prison and they haven't committed the crime. But the person in prison, they committed the crime. So regardless of what the person outside the prison, what their political views are, the person in prison, they shouldn't have an effect on what's going on outside, is what the argument is saying. So what if the country is split between two parties and 5 million people voted for one party, 5 million people voted for the other party, and they just needed 5 votes in order to swing to the other party, and those 5 votes came from people who are in prison? Is that something that should be allowed?
That is not how it works.
Isn't it?
It's not how it works. You can see the voting according to the area of each.
Someone's been doing some research.
Well, no.
This video.
I haven't been doing any research. It's like, when they announce results, they say like East Midlands that many votes, Wales that many votes. It doesn't say the prison in London 15 votes for this party. It's like you don't know where the votes are coming from, so you can't say that it was a swinging vote. And also, I don't think they're a majority in the country to make any difference.
Correct. But the point of, you can't see them. But the point is, if they can vote, which I actually don't know if they can or they can't vote right now, but if they can vote, then their votes will be making the difference. People always say your vote makes the difference, even though it's millions of people voting. Your vote will make the difference. It's important to vote. So they say that for a reason. So if the prisoners are allowed to vote and their vote makes the difference to go towards a swinging party, is that fair to people who, for example, someone's been sent away for the rest of their life, and just for the kicks, for the laugh, they're going to vote, even though it means nothing to them?
You can't say that, because then I can say to you, what about all the people who are voting because they haven't read anything, but they like the name of the party, or they like that this party is racist and they're racist and they vote for that, or they're just really like completely don't care, but because their friend down the road asked them and it was like, oh, what are you doing tomorrow, mate? Let's go and vote. Oh yeah, okay, who are you voting for? Oh, I'm gonna vote for the same person. It's like, what about all those people that I don't think their vote should be considered anyway?
Yeah, but regardless of whether you think they should be considered or not, it's their right to vote.
Well, it's their right to vote to the prisoners as well, isn't it?
No, but the argument is, once they've gone to prison, once they've committed the crime against society, that the law has dictated that these things are illegal. So the prisoner stepped over the line, broken the law of what the government has set, and they've gone to prison.
And that's why they don't have the right of freedom anymore.
That's right, but everybody else, right? The people that you mentioned, the racists, the people who think that animals should be in parliament, whatever. People have died and fought to give them the right to then express their vote
to everyone.
But the argument is, once you've broken the laws that have been set in place, should you not then relinquish your right to vote for the period of time that you're behind bars?
I understand your argument, but I'm just saying that I don't agree.
Okay.
Because you can choose then to just relinquish them of any rights. Like going to prison is a punishment, but I also think it's a way of rehabilitation. So if you strip them of all of their rights, and if it's not if it's like not a life sentence, but if you do want them to go back to society by being inside, being in prison, and everything else that their life is completely stripped of, if you strip them of that right as well, you wouldn't be allowing them to think that one day they can still become part of society, and that belonging feeling that they have the responsibility. They might come out and say, well, I don't want to break the law anymore, because not only that I didn't get my freedom, but I'm not saying that it's more important to vote, but it'll be like, I wasn't allowed to do all these things. But if I was allowed to vote, then I'm thinking, well, the country still cared for me and it was trying to help me in prison, so let me be part of this community now and just do my best. So
from your point of view, it's more of a sense that you're letting them feel good, feel like inclusive kind of thing, like a mental kind of thing then.
Yeah, because I think you'd give them back the responsibility and the fact that they care. And one more thing I wanted to say to you is, if the prisoner votes for a certain party or not, this affects them still, because wouldn't some of the legislation of that party be concerning prisoner rights and prisoner life? And not only prisoner life, but even the people who work in prison, the guards and the other people.
Okay.
So wouldn't I just think that there's so much more than to this than just like they did something wrong and they're punished for that. They are punished for that with the one of the most important things in your life, freedom. But to not allow them to vote, it's like, well, what's next? Like, can they even come out of the cell? Are they allowed to live anymore?
Fair enough.
I don't know. That's just like on this train of thought.
Good argument. Okay. What do you think?
Yeah, what do you think? It's a serious topic. Yeah, what do you think? It's a serious topic. We have to cut that one out.
Cut what one out?